Please start.
Hello everyone and welcome you all in today's webinar. I'm Kanchan Singh, biology educator at Jeevandeep Public School Varanasi. As a part of Biology Colloquium, we are here to talk on different aspects of coronavirus in terms of biology, the life science. I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. Mamta Singh ma'am, Vice Principal Manoj Singh sir, coordinators ma'am, my dear colleagues, students, and all viewers. Thank you for taking time out and being here today. So let's start with intro of our panelists. Vikram Singh, Sristipal, Nidhi Kumari, Achal Chauhan, Akanksha Upadhyay. Now, I would like to request our coordinator, Namita Singh ma'am, to say a few words. This is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kanchan. Good afternoon, everyone. I must appreciate and congratulate the team of this event who have motivated the students and arranged this event presently. As I remember, when we were uh, conquering regarding webinar on COVID-19, the students started showing their interest and worked with full capacity from then onwards. They have given so much effort in the preparing the videos, PPTs, and collected informative facts around the world. I hope today speakers will deliver their best and those witnessing the event will be overwhelmed with the performance of our students. All the best, children. Now, I would take the honor to request Principal Ma'am to give her tips and blessings to the student. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Namita ma'am. Yeah, rightly told. This pandemic has changed our life. But children, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy on fighting the old one, but you should start building the new. Technology now allows people to connect anytime, anywhere to anyone, and we should take help of this technology. The COVID actually has changed our life, the lifestyle of the people. It has brought many negative aspects of the life, but we must admit it has brought many positive aspects also. Few of them I would like to mention. The hygiene, the habit of hygiene which it has inculcated in the lifestyle of the people is remarkable. And second one is togetherness. Because of this COVID, all the people have come together and we have started thinking of fighting COVID. In this pandemic, children, there are only two options. We can be bitter or we can be better. And I'm really very happy when I came to know that the children of biology, they are preparing for this webinar. I really became very happy to know that actually you are looking forward for some better opportunities. So I'm very proud of you children. I'm being the biology students, you are going to discuss, which I have heard till now, that you are going to discuss some biological aspects of coronavirus, and it is really very good. People would be knowing many things new about coronavirus. And as other students have also presented webinar, like the effect of COVID on Indian economy. Then another was from the students of science, physics and chemistry, how to make the vaccine, how to make sanitizers. So many things have already been discussed. So now you are coming over here with your ideas to fight COVID, or what are the biological aspects of COVID. I'm really very happy, children. God bless you. And I'm looking forward to go through this webinar to watch your presentation. Thank you so much. God bless you. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have heard the word pandemic along with this COVID-19. So I want to ask Srishti what she think about it.
Yes, ma'am. A pandemic can be defined as an epidemic occurring worldwide or over a wide area, crossing international boundaries and usually affecting a large number of people. On 11th March 2020, WHO has characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic because a large number of cases have been registered in many of the countries. In the early days of outbreak, the media, the medical expert, and the health professional referred coronavirus is a catch-all term to discuss the outbreak of illness. But a coronavirus is just a type of virus which causes a disease rather than a disease itself. So there is a period of confusion in this regard. The WHO has tried to clear this dilemma by naming this new strain of virus as SARS-CoV-2 and pandemic disease as COVID-19. This SARS-CoV-2 virus was found to be genetically similar to the SARS-CoV virus. This SARS species was responsible for outbreak in November 2002, killing 744 people worldwide. Hence, the people also referred this virus as sister of SARS-CoV-2. Now, my friend Vikram is going to tell you about some biological aspects of coronavirus.
Srishti, firstly, can you tell us please about the some signs and symptoms of this COVID-19?
Yes, ma'am, why not? The typical daily signs or symptoms are concluded from the study of 138 patients from Wuhan University and 135 patients from Xining Hospital and 56 patients from the Wuhan Pulmonary Hospital. These symptoms are broken down into day 1 to day 2. The beginning symptoms are similar to the common cold with a mild sore throat, neither having a fever nor feeling tired. The patient can still consume and eat as usual. Day 3, the patient throat start to feel bit painful. Body temperature heat at around 36.5 degrees centigrade, although it's uncommon. Other symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, etc. are to set in. Day 4, the throat pain become more serious. Other symptoms like feeling weak and joint pain start to manifest. The patient reading show between 36.5 degrees centigrade to 37. Day 5 to day 6, mild fever start. The patient show temperature reading above 37.2 degrees centigrade. The second most common symptoms, that is dry cough, also appear, and breathing difficulty may occur occasionally. Other symptoms remain the same. Day 7, the patient that haven't started recovering by day 7 get more serious cough and breathing difficulty, and temperature reading goes above 38 degrees centigrade. Patient may develop further headache and body pain or diarrhea if there are any. Many patients are admitted to the hospital at this stage. Day 8 to day 9. On the 8th day, the symptoms are likely to be The symptoms are likely to be worse for co-medical existing patients. Severe shortness of breath become more serious.
Hello everyone and welcome you all in today's webinar. I am Kanchan Singh, biology educator at Jeevan the Public School Varanasi. As a part of biology colloquium, we are here to talk on different aspects of coronavirus in terms of biology. I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. Mamta Singh ma'am, Vice Principal Manoj Singh sir, coordinators ma'am, my dear colleagues, students and all viewers. Thank you for taking time out and being here today. So let's start with the intro of our panelists, Vikram Singh, Sristipal, Nidhi Kumari, Achal Chauhan, Akanksha Upadhyay. I would like to request our coordinator, Namita Singh ma'am, to say a few words. This is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kanchan. Good afternoon, everyone. I must appreciate and congratulate the team of this event who have motivated the students and arranged this event pleasantly. As I remember, when we were conquering a webinar on COVID-19, the students started showing their interest and worked with full capacity from then onwards. They have given so much effort in preparing the PPTs, videos, and collected informative facts around the world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome you all in today's webinar. I'm Kanchan Singh, biology educator at Jeevan the Public School, Varanasi. As a part of biology colloquium, we are here to talk on different aspects of coronavirus in terms of biology, the life sciences. I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. Mamta Singh ma'am, Vice Principal Manoj Singh sir, coordinators ma'am, my dear colleagues, students, and all our viewers. Thank you for being here today and for taking time out for us. So let's start with info of our panelists, Vikram Singh, Sristipal, Nidhi Kumari, Achal Chauhan, Akanksha Upadhyay. I would like to request our coordinator, Namita Singh ma'am, to say a few words. This is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kanchan. Good afternoon, everyone. I must appreciate and congratulate the team of this event, those who have motivated the students and arranged this event pleasantly. As I remember, फिर से करें
Hello, everyone, and welcome you all in today's webinar. I'm Kanchan Singh, biology educator at Jeevan Public School, Varanasi. As a part of biology colloquium, we are here to talk on different aspects of coronavirus in terms of biology, the life science. I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. Mamta Singh ma'am, Vice Principal Manoj Singh sir, coordinators ma'am, my dear colleagues, students, and all our viewers. Thank you for taking time out and being here today. So let's start with intro of our panelists, Vikram Singh, Sristipal, Nidhi Kumari, Achal Chauhan, Akanksha Upadhyay. I would like to request our coordinator, Namta Singh ma'am, to say a few words. This is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kanchan. Good afternoon, everyone. I must appreciate and congratulate the team of this event who have motivated the students and arranged this event pleasantly. As I remember, when we were conquering regarding webinar on COVID-19, the students started showing their interest and worked with full capacity from then onwards. They have given so much effort in preparing the PPTs, videos, and collected informative facts around the world. I hope today's speakers will deliver their best and those witnessing the event will be overwhelmed with the performance of our students. All the best, children. Now, I would like to take the honor to request Principal Ma'am to give her tips and blessings to the students. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Namita ma'am. It's really a great pleasure to join this webinar. Many changes are going on in today's world, but you know, children, how to accept these changes. We should not fight to go for the old one only. We should adopt the new ideas. This pandemic has brought many effects on this earth. Some are positive, some are negative. Negative may be many, but we should think about the positive aspect of this pandemic also. This pandemic has inculcated some very good ideas, especially related to hygiene, and it has brought a sense of togetherness in the society. Everyone together is fighting this COVID-19, this coronavirus. And I'm really very happy that the students of Jeevandeep Public School are getting new and new knowledge and sharing it with the people about coronavirus. Earlier, there were children who explained how this COVID has its impact on Indian economy. Then again, other children came and they told how to prepare the vaccine, how to prepare sanitizers and all this. And today I came to know that you have come along with some biological aspects of coronavirus. You know, children, there are only two options. Either we can be bitter or we can be better. I'm really very happy that you have chosen the second option, that is the better one. And you are going through on all the online classes, you are studying well in the same way, you are getting new and new information about coronavirus and sharing it with the society. I really am very happy with you people and I'm looking forward to watch this webinar. Thank you so much, children. God bless you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. We have heard the word pandemic along with this COVID-19. So I want to ask Christy, what do you think about it?
Yes, ma'am, of course. The pandemic can be defined as an epidemic occurring worldwide or over a wide area, crossing international boundaries and usually affecting a large number of people. And a novel coronavirus COVID-19 cases have been registered in a large number of countries. So, on 11th March 2020, WHO has characterized this COVID-19 as a pandemic. In the initial day of outbreak, the media, the medical expert, and the health professional referred the coronavirus as a catch-all term to discuss the outbreak of illness. But a coronavirus is just a type of virus which causes diseases rather than a disease itself. So there is a period of confusion. In this regard, the WHO has tried to clear this dilemma by naming this new strain of virus as SARS-CoV-2 and pandemic disease as COVID-19. This SARS-CoV virus was found to be genetically similar to the SARS-CoV. This SARS species was responsible for killing 744 people worldwide in November 2002. Hence, people also refer this SARS-CoV virus as sister of SARS-CoV-2. Now, my friend Vikram is going to tell you about the biological aspects of coronavirus.
Thank you, Srishti. As the coronavirus is responsible for the pandemic which nowadays we are suffering from. So we should know what is coronavirus. It is a single-strand RNA virus having a sun-like appearance under electron microscope due to presence of spikes on its surfaces. It infects mammals, birds of a single species or closely related species in their upper respiratory tract or in their bronchi. The first coronavirus, an infectious bronchitis virus, was identified in 1930s, causing infection in the respiratory tract of birds. The first human coronavirus associated with common cold was identified in 1960s. The first, there are some different species of coronavirus which are responsible for different outbreaks such as SARS, SARS-CoV, MERS, and MERS-CoV outbreak in 2002, 2003, 2012, and 2015 respectively. According to ADATA, the MERS outbreak had killed 40% of people who are known to be suffering from it.
Vikram, can you please give an explanation of the official name for this virus? That why is it named COVID-19?
Before officially being named, scientists were calling it as Wuhan coronavirus. Experts have said having a name during an outbreak is instrumental. So, the director of WHO, Tedros, has said having a name matters to prevent the use of other names that can be inaccurate or stigmatizing. It also gives us a standard format to use for any future corona outbreak. So, the name simply focused on the type of virus that caused the disease, and it named as COVID-19, which stands for coronavirus disease, and 19 stands for 2019 when the virus hits.
Vikram, I have a question that why the title novel given to the virus?
According to a report submitted by World Health Organization in 2015, the novel world will be used to indicate a new pathogen of previously known family of virus. So, the COVID-19 has hits the world in 2019 and it is new for its family. So, it has given the title novel and it is known to us as nCoV-20 virus.
Vikram, as you are telling about the biological aspects of coronavirus, so can you tell us some about structure of coronavirus?
Sure, Srishti. With an average diameter of 125 nanometer, the viral envelope is 85 nanometer in diameter, consisting of 20 to 30 nanometer long spikes. The viral envelope consists of 20 to 30,000 kilobases. It is made up of a bilipid layer in which membrane protein, envelope protein, and structural protein are anchored in the ratio of 1:20:300. This is
Vikram,
the
could you please
pictorial structure. This is the pictorial representation of the structure of coronavirus, in which the arrangement of envelope protein, membrane protein, spike protein, nucleocapsid protein enclosing the RNA, and the bilipid membrane is shown.
Vikram, could you please explain about the biological classification of novel coronavirus?
Surely, belonging to the family Cornovidae, subfamily Orthocornovidae, the COVID-19 virus belongs to class Neurovils of realm Ribovora. The Orthocornovidae consist of 4 different genus, that is alpha, beta, gamma, and delta coronavirus, in which the pandemic disease which we are suffering from is due to a species of beta coronavirus, that is SARS-CoV-2. Generally, the coronavirus are estimated to cause common cold or respiratory disease, and in which the alpha and beta coronavirus infect mammals, including humans, and gamma and delta coronavirus infect birds.
Vikram, as we all know, protein is present in all living organisms and include many essential biological compounds such as enzymes and hormones. So can you please explain us that what is the function of protein in virus structure?
Sure, Akansha. As we all know, protein works as a structural and functional biomolecule regulating all the cellular and acellular processes. The SARS-CoV-2 virus consists of 4 different proteins that are spike protein, envelope protein, nucleocapsid protein, and membrane protein. The spike protein attach to host receptor ACE2, including the subunits S1 and S2. The S1 subunit determines the virus host strength and cellular tropism by receptor binding domain RBD. S2 mediates virus entry into the membrane of the host cell. The membrane protein is responsible for the transmembrane transport of blood, RNA, nutrients, and the formation of envelope. The nucleocapsid protein and envelope protein, along with several accessory proteins, interfere with host immune response for an unknown function. There are 16 non-structural proteins named NSP1 to NSP16 facilitate membrane invaginators, that is cofactor, responsible for infection in the host cell.
Shrishti, can you explain what are the signs and symptoms of this invisible coronavirus so that we can take precaution regarding this?
Yes, Chanchal, of course. The typical daily symptoms are concluded from the study of 138 patients from Zhuangnan Hospital of Wuhan University and 135 patients from Zenyin 10 Hospital and 56 patients from Wuhan Pulmonary Hospital. These symptoms are broken down into day 1 to day 2. The beginning symptoms are similar to the common cold with a mild sore throat, neither having a fever nor feeling tired. The patient can still consume food and drink as usual. Day 3. The patient throat start to bit painful, body temperature read at around 36.5 degrees centigrade, although it's uncommon. Other symptoms like mild nausea, vomiting, mild diarrhea are possible to set in. Day 4. Throat pain become more serious, and other symptoms like feeling weak and the joint pain start to manifest. The patients show temperature reading between 36.5 degrees centigrade to 37 degrees. Day 5 to day 6. The mild fever start. The patients show a temperature reading above 37.2 degrees centigrade. The second most symptoms, that is dry cough, also appear. Breathing difficulty may occur occasionally. Most patients are in this stage are easily feeling tired, and other symptoms likely to be remain the same. These 4 symptoms are the top 5 key indicator of COVID-19 according to the final report of initial outbreak conducted by the joint mission of China and WHO. Day 7, the patient that haven't started recovering by day 7 get more serious cough and breathing difficulty. Fever can get higher up to 38 degrees centigrade. Patients may develop further headache and body pain or diarrhea if there. Many patients are admitted to the hospital at this stage. Day 8. On the 8th day, the symptoms are likely to be worst for the patient who has been in the coexisting medical condition. Severe shortness of breath become more frequent. Temperature reading goes well above 38 degrees centigrade. In one of the studies, day 9 is the average time when a species start to affect 40% of the patients. Day 10 to day 11, doctors are ordering imaging tests like chest X-ray to capture the severity of respiratory distress in the patient. Patient have loss of appetite and may be facing abdominal pain. The condition then lead to immediate treatment in ICU. Day 12 to day 14. For the survivors, the symptoms can be well managed at this point. Fever tends to get better and breathing difficult to start to cease on day 13, but some patients can be affected by the mild cough even after the hospital discharge. Day 15 to day 16. The day 15 is opposite. For the rest of the minority patient, the fragile group much prepared for the probability of cardiac injury or a kidney injury. Day 17 to day 19. The COVID-19 fatality cases happened at around day 18. Before the time, the vulnerable patient may develop a second infection caused by new pathogen in the lower respiratory tract. The severe condition may lead to blood coagulation and ischemia. Day 20 to day 22. The surviving patients are discharged from the hospital and they are completely recovered. Anchal, I have understood that you have, I think you have understood the daily signs and symptoms of coronavirus.
Vikram, as this COVID disease has transmitting very rapidly nowadays, so could you please explain the process of its transmission?
Sure, Nidhi, as the study provides strong evidence that the virus transmission starts from 2 to 3 days before a infectious person starts showing symptoms. The virus can transmit from infected person to non-infected person in form of respiratory droplets or mucus droplets. Respiratory droplets carrying infectious pathogen can transmit infection when they travel directly from the respiratory tract of an infectious individual to susceptible mucosal surfaces of the recipient. Generally, it happens over short distance. This can be in form of sneezing, coughing, or speaking. The virus can also transmit through fomites, that is, daily using surfaces, as the virus stays on these type of surface for 3 hours to more than 3 days. Some potential fomites can be copper, plastic, stainless steel, cardboard, mobiles, telephone, or any inanimate object.
Vikram, could you please tell us that how this virus infects a human cell?
Sure, Nidhi. The virus surface consists of spike protein, which mediates the entry of the virus into host cell. To fulfill its function, the SARS-CoV-2 spike binds to the receptor through receptor binding domain (RBD) of ACE2, which is proteolytically activated by human proteases. After that, endocytosis happens, in which the viral RNA replicates. At last, due to action of lysosomal proteases, the cell bursts and new pathogens release, and they start infecting other human cells.
Srishti, can you please share your views about herd immunity as we are hearing this word very frequently nowadays?
Yes, Akansha, of course. Before herd immunity, we all have to understand what is an immune person and a non-immune person. A non-immune person is susceptible to the disease. When he comes in the contact of infectious agent, he can get infected, fall, and even spread disease to the other. On the other hand, if an immune person comes in the contact of infectious agent, he can fight against it, don't fall ill. Moreover, he don't spread disease to the others. So if there is a non-immune population and one person get infected, now he can spread the infection to the other. And every newly infected person will keep on the chain of infection, and in this way, the whole population will be infected. But suppose most of the individuals in a population are immune to the virus and one non-immune person get infected, now he can't transmit disease to the other, and in this way the chain of infection is broken down. In such a population, other non-immune persons are easily protected by the large number of immune persons. So this is called as herd immunity. In simple words, the herd immunity means a large number of immune individuals shields a non-immune individuals from the infection.
Okay, Srishti. So, is there any possibility that herd immunity can protect us from COVID-19?
Yes, Akansha, herd immunity can protect us from COVID-19, but for herd immunity to come into the action, at least 60 to 70% of the population should be immune to the virus. Now, take a look at Delhi COVID graph. From the graph, we may say that the COVID patient between and starting of July and end of August were low. So you may think that this is due to a herd immunity action in Delhi. But according to the India's one of the leading epidemiologists said that herd immunity action can be performed in Delhi only if 50 to 60% of Delhi population should be immune. And according to the second serological survey conducted in Delhi has found that only 29.1% of Delhi's population have become immune to the virus, which was conducted between August 1 to August 7. And the third serological survey was conducted between September 1 to September 5, and the final report is not announced by the official. So our next question is how to become immune to the virus. There are two ways. First, either by getting vaccinated from the disease or virus, and second, by letting people infected and let them recovered. Since we haven't developed a vaccine yet, so there is only one way of getting immunity, and it is by letting people infected and let them recovered. But I think this is not a good idea because every lives matter. So there is only one way to be safe, and it is to follow a government guidelines. Now, my friend Nidhi is going to tell you about the vaccines.
Yes, Shrishti, for sure. As everyone is very familiar with the known disease, coronavirus or COVID-19, severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, is the virus which leads to the COVID-19 disease, which has spread rapidly from the first known case in China to the countries around the whole world. As we all know that COVID-19 disease has turned into a pandemic due to which we are suffering a lot. So in response to this global health crisis, our scientists and researchers are working on developing a coronavirus vaccine as soon as possible. Still, they have prepared and tested many of the vaccines.
Nidhi, as you are talking about vaccine, so can you please tell us what is vaccine?
Yes, Achal. A vaccine is like a medicine which makes a person less likely to get a disease. It gives immunity to an infectious disease caused by a particular germ, bacteria, or virus. So the body's adaptive immune system can learn how to recognize new invading pathogens such as the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2.
Nidhi, can you please help us understand the working of vaccines? Do they work against viruses?
Yes, Akansha. Vaccines gives us immunity before we get sick first. They are made using killed or weakened versions of the disease-causing virus, which is known as antigens. For some of the vaccines, genetic engineering is also used, as it is much safer to get a vaccine than to get the disease it prevents. When we get a vaccine, our immune system responds to the vaccine in the same way it would to the real virus. Firstly, it recognizes the virus in the vaccine as being foreign. Then it responds it by making antibodies. Our immune system learns and recognizes the virus and learns how to destroy it. If we are ever exposed to the disease producing virus in future again, our immune system will be able to quickly destroy it before it has chance to make us sick. This is how we get immunity from a vaccine. Now let me tell you types of vaccines and their functions. So very first vaccine is in live attenuated vaccine. Live vaccines used a weakened form of the disease producing virus. They help in preventing us. They create a very strong and long lasting immune response. The second type of vaccine is inactivated vaccine. An inactivated vaccine or killed vaccine uses virus, bacteria, or other pathogens which are grown in a culture and has lost disease producing capacity. The third type of vaccine is recombinant vaccine. This type of vaccine uses specific piece of the disease producing virus like protein, sugar, or capsid. As it uses only specific pieces of the disease producing virus, that's target to virus. And the fourth one is toxoid vaccine. As it is very clear from its name, toxoid. Toxoid vaccine use a toxin which from the disease producing virus. In this vaccine, the vaccine targets to the parts of disease, to the specific parts of the disease producing virus instead of the whole virus itself.
Nidhi, can you tell us about some of the prepared vaccine?
Yes, Anchal. Very first of them is CoronaVac. It is developed by Sinovac Biotech Limited. It is based on an inactivated pathogen. It is in trial phase third. The second type of vaccine is mRNA 1273. It is developed by Moderna. It is in trial phase third. The third vaccine is AZD122, which is developed by the University of Oxford AstraZeneca, IQVIA. It is in trial phase second and third. The fourth vaccine is which is developed by a Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech International Limited, BIL. The fifth vaccine is Zycovir. It is developed by Zygus Canada. Our most recent coronavirus vaccine, which has been approved, is Sputnik, which is formerly known as Gram COVID vaccine. It is developed by a UNESCO approved by Russian on 11 August. Still, many of the vaccines have been prepared and are in analysis, but we are unable to get a right vaccine now.
Nidhi, as you are talking about vaccine, can you tell us some advantages and disadvantages of vaccine, please?
Yes, Shrishti. Vaccines prevents disease outbreak. They early prevent infections. They protect communities. It effectively control non-invasive infection and reduce the cost. Now let's talk about some of the disadvantages of these virus of the vaccines. Some vaccines causes temporary headache, fatigue, or loss of appetite. Rarely, a child may experience a severe allergic or a neurological side effect. Although these side effects are a concern, a vaccine does not cause a serious harm like death.
Nidhi, nowadays people are waiting for vaccine when it will be available for us. Do you have any idea regarding this?
I'm not sure, Vikram, but projections for how long it will take to develop a vaccine vary widely, depending on whether the person making a projection is a businessman, politician, or a scientist. Politicians and manufacturers alike have implied that a coronavirus vaccine may be available within months. But, however, based on their knowledge and experience, scientists say that a coronavirus vaccine could take at least a year, might not possible during the current outbreak, or could take some times. Generally, it takes 12 to 18 months. If the timeline for production of a coronavirus vaccine seems long, this is because there are many steps in place to ensure that it is right, safe, and effective. So that's all about the coronavirus vaccine.
Achal, nowadays people are believing on false beliefs. They are spreading it also. They believe that by doing so, the COVID-19 virus will not infect them. Do you explain those things that how it is possible or they are just myths?
Sure, Vikram. As we all know, for the past few months, the world has been on high alert about novel coronavirus. As my friend Nidhi has informed you all about vaccine, why it is important and how it is prepared. But nowadays, people start to believe in ideas or stories which doesn't exist, commonly known as myth. But what about the facts that are being hidden? It is very important to refrain from placing your belief in any miraculous cures or conspiracies theories about COVID-19. So, in this report, we are going to take a look at some widely shared myth about novel coronavirus. Now, my friends are going to describe popular myth and I am going to justify the proper facts so that you may not fall for it.
Achal, is it true that COVID-19 cannot be transmitted in areas with hot and humid climate?
Nidhi, let me tell you, it is just a fallacious statement. I do request everybody not to believe in this kind of statement. We all have seen that few months ago, coronavirus was being transmitted in hot and humid weather. Few months ago, there was hot climate and now also we see that there is humid weather. It has not been stopped from 500 cases to 42 lakh above cases today by transmitting. Then how can we say that coronavirus cannot be transmitted in hot and humid climates? We all are evidence, we all have suffered, we all have experience. So we can't believe in this kind of, we can't believe in this kind of myth.
Anchal, I have listened that hand dryers are effective in killing COVID-19. Is it true statement?
Shrishti, hand dryers is not effective in killing COVID-19. To protect yourself against new coronavirus, you should frequently clean your hands with alcohol-based hand rub sanitizer or wash them with soap or water. Instead of shaking your hands, please do namaste. If you are in public place, please wear a mask.
Achal, what's your opinion about this statement that spraying alcohol or chlorine all over our body can kill COVID-19 virus?
Akansha, I remembered a case in Uttar Pradesh where migrant workers were doused with disinfectant used to sanitize buses. This sparked a controversy as it contains sodium hypochlorite. So the people were hospitalized. Spraying alcohol or chlorine all over the body will not kill any viruses that have entered our body. This can be harmful for our mucous membranes, that is eyes, nose, mouth, stomach, trachea, etc. We are aware that both chlorine and alcohol can be useful to disinfect surfaces, but it need to be used under appropriate recommendation.
Anchal, many people used to say that vaccine against pneumonia can protect us, can be used against COVID-19 also. Is it true?
No, Shrishti. Vaccines against coronavirus such as pneumonia, pneumococcal vaccine or Haemophilus influenza type B vaccines do not provide protection against novel coronavirus, as all the viruses contains different types of proteins, different types of proteins and different mode of action. So they need specific types of vaccine.
Anchal, I have heard that COVID-19 can be transmitted through mosquito bite. Is it really true?
Nidhi, it is not true. To date, there has been no evidence to suggest that new coronavirus could be transmitted by mosquito. The new coronavirus is a respiratory virus which spreads through droplets generated when an infected person coughs or sneezes, or through droplets of saliva or discharge from the nose.
Anchal, in the initial day of outbreak, people used to say that COVID-19 only affect the older people. Please tell its reality.
Shrishti, novel coronavirus can affect all age group people, whether it's children or older people. It was highly recommended that older people can suffer a severe fatal case. Older people and people with pre-existing medical care such as asthma, diabetes, heart disease appears to be more vulnerable to become severely ill with the virus. WHO advises people of all age group to take steps to protect themselves from virus.
Is this statement true that eating meat can cause COVID-19?
Akanksha, just I remembered a case where a farmer in Karnataka, Gokak, buried a truckload of chicken in his farm over coronavirus fear. The farmer loaded around 6,000 chicken all about the month in a truck and dumped the live birds in a large pit. We need to understand that the novel coronavirus is way more different from other influenza virus. They do have similarities that both COVID-19 and flu are viral bone infection, but they belong to different virus family. As my friend Vikram has already told you about beta coronavirus, which is seen in bat, but there is no specific connection as to how COVID-19 can stay on chicken, meats, etc. By consumption of chicken, meats, mutton, fish, etc., or by avoiding it doesn't mean that we are safe.
Anchal, is it a true statement that dogs can cause COVID-19?
Nidhi, the outbreak of COVID-19 is causing fear and uncertainty for many. Do not abandon your pets due to rumors and fears of coronavirus. Based on the limited information available to date, the risk of pets spreading the virus can cause COVID-19 in people is considered to be low. At this time, there is no evidence that animals play a significant role in spreading the virus that causes COVID-19. There was a case where in Hong Kong, 2 dogs have been tested for corona positive. Both dogs were owned by people that were sick and the viruses found in their mouth and nose tested as weakly positive. Neither dogs developed a signs of sickness, as they can be a source of infection for humans. However, we should always keep sanitary measures such as washing our hands before and after, spend time with the animals or touch their belongings. That was all about the myths and reality, which can help us to stay clear about any false belief and from spreading them further. Now we should hope you are safe. Hope you are safe and hope you are safe, because prevention is better than cure.
Akansha, by now we all are aware of the severity of COVID-19. So I have a question that this pandemic is affecting our mental health also.
Of course, Shishti. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. When it comes to life post-pandemic, people worries about most is mental health. As we all know, there's a major health crisis going on in the world. Disease is affecting, taking the form of a pandemic. While countries around the world continue to mobilize the spread of COVID-19, long-term mental health impact this pandemic is going to leave on society. Now, let me tell you all that what actually mental health is. It is the level of well-being, or it is the level of psychological well-being or an absence of mental illness. It is the state of someone who is functioning at a satisfactory level of emotional and behavioral adjustments. According to some scientific theories from Cambridge, we are facing here is a very traumatic thing. We know about trauma, that while it's happening to you, you can do whatever you can do to survive. This coronavirus can stir up all sorts of feelings like fear, anxiety, loneliness, and stress. According to me, a little stress can be helpful. This can be the motivator. It keeps us self-isolating, but constant or high level of stress can negatively affect our mental health. Taking care of our mind is always important. But yes, the truth is that doing so in the middle of pandemic can be really tricky.
Akansha, as you inform about mental health, do you have any case study or example regarding to it, that how it affects the mental health or mental well-being of a person?
Of course, Vikram. After seeing the data provided by WHO, today 450 million people suffered from generalized anxiety disorder. And this pandemic seems increasing the chart of cases. So at MC Master University, she suffered from a generalized anxiety disorder. She said that I shut because I don't know what to do. I'm not prepared for this situation. I didn't even already suffering fear, anxiety, loneliness, depression. The pandemic could be exacerbating their symptoms day by day. Now, I'm just going to show you all a short dramatic explanation of the situation which is currently going on in the world today. So just suppose there's a peak and at the peak in which we are engaging with the threat of the pandemic. We go into survival mode, which is very taxing on a people's mental health. And actually, it doesn't let us think that what's actually happening to us. Once the pandemic will be over, there will be a well in which we recover from that threat. But the problem is going back to the baseline without support can take a lot longer we may think. After concerned about mental illness. Now, here are some tips which we can follow. Most importantly, we have to share what we are feeling with our friends and family. Do exercise, start your day well. It will help you to know that what actually you are feeling. Mindfulness is well known to make people feel calmer and cope better with stress. Stay informed but not overloaded, because constantly rolling towards news feed it can negatively affect your mental health. If feeling anxiety, try a breathing technique such as box breathing, which is a scientifically proved way of making people feel calm. Quality sleep is very important. It makes a big difference. So guys, don't let sickness, depression and disease hug you out, because sometimes having coffee with our family and friends is all the best therapy we need.
Shrishti, as you have explained earlier about signs and symptoms of coronavirus, then can you please tell us about some preventive measure to control this virus?
Yes, Anshul, of course. The preventive measures regarding COVID-19 are as follows. Greet without physical contact to limit the transmission of virus. Maintain a physical distance of 2 gaj, that is 6 feet in public places. Wear reusable handmade face covers or masks at all times when you are in public place. Avoid touching eyes, nose, mouth, because they are the entry of viruses in your body. Cover nose and mouth while sneezing and coughing to not spread the virus in your surroundings. Wash hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Do not chew tobacco, candy, etc. or spit into the public places. Regularly clean and disinfect the frequently touched surfaces. Avoid unnecessary travel during this pandemic. And next is the most important, that do not discriminate against people affected by COVID-19, their caregivers, or anyone supporting the fight against COVID-19. Keep number of guests to the minimum if the social event can't be postponed, like wedding, funerals, or any important meeting. Do not visit crowded places, avoid mass gathering. And then last, follow the new trend of greeting, that is Namaste.
Thank you, Srishti. As people working together in breaking the chain of coronavirus infection, a better world is emerging. The tough times are sure to pass, leaving behind wisdom of practicing compassion and caring for what genuinely matters in our life. People have realized the need for precautions and are taking steps against future contingencies to keep coming generations safe. I deem it a great honor to propose vote of thanks from behalf of Jeevandi Public School to all those who have helped us in making this webinar successful. First of all, I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our principal, Dr. Mamta Singh ma'am, for gracing today's webinar. My sincere gratitude to our coordinator, Namrita Singh ma'am, for her mental support. I'm grateful to my technical team, Ashish sir and Amit sir. Without your effort, it was not possible. I'm also grateful to our whole JPS family. I'm immensely thankful to our viewers to giving their precious time to us. Finally, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my wonderful students for their untiring efforts. And in last, 3 mantras: wear a mask, wash your hands, keep a safe distance, stay safe, and namaste.